Hello, so today what I want to do is show you how to calculate the variance and standard deviation for a small set of data. The small set of data that I've chosen is adult shoe sizes. Okay, and this is our X variable, if you will. So we survey a collection of 5 adults, and we find that their shoe sizes range from 3, 7, 8, 4 and 11. So those are the 5 different shoe sizes we get. Okay, so we know that n is 5. We know that our X variable sums to, so the mathematical sign for summing, X is equal to 10, 21, 29, 33. Okay, so that's just the sum of these is 33. Okay. In order to calculate the mean, we would simply X bar put 33 over 5. Okay. Which is 6.6. Okay. However, if we want to calculate the variance of the data, what we need to do is we need to use the formula for variance. So we have here, I don't know what that's doing there. Let me just get rid of that. Okay, so the formula that we use for variance is the sum of x squareds minus the sum of x's squared over n divided by n minus 1. I know it looks a bit ugly, but I promise you that that it's going to be quite straightforward. So if we just go back to the data on our first sheet, first thing we need to do is we need to calculate the square values for all of our x's. So 3 squared is 9, 7 squared, 7 times 7, 49, 8 squared is 64, 4 squared is 16, and 11 squared is 121. So that gives us x squareds, and then in order to calculate the sum of all of those x squareds, we just add those up, and they sum to 259. So now what we have is we have the sum of our x squareds, which is 259. In addition, we want to know the square of our x sum. So here we have our sum of x's, which is 33. If we square 33 using our calculator, we end up with a value of 33 squared is 1089. So if we would write that by the sum of x's squared equals. Okay, so I'm going to take those numbers back onto the next page and we can have a look at that. Okay, so we know that our sum of x squareds is 259, and that is all of our observations squared and then summed. We know that this value is 1089, And we know that we have to divide this through by n. We know that n is 5. Okay, so this is what we have. And then all of that is over n minus 1, so 5 minus 1, so that's all over 4. Okay, so this is our equation for variance. Okay, if we're to work these out, we end up with this breaking down to becoming 259 minus 217.8 divided by 4. This gives us a variance of 10.3. Okay, so hopefully that helps in terms of calculating the variance. To calculate the standard deviation, we simply square root the variance. Okay, so if you remember 259, which is the sum of squared x's minus the sum of x's squared, which is 1089 divided by n, which is 5, giving us 217.8 divided by 4 gives us 10.3, which is the variance. In order to calculate the standard deviation, oops, can't spell. This is the square root of the variance. So the square root of 10.3, if we plug that into our calculator, we end up with 3.21. So this is our standard deviation. Okay, often referred to as sigma, and the variance is often referred to as sigma squared. Okay, in terms of mathematical notation. So hopefully what you can see from this, if we just go back and have a look at our original problem, we're looking at adult shoe sizes. We can see that our sample's shoe size range from 3 to 11, so quite a spread. And we can see that as a consequence of that, our mean might be 6.6, but our variance is 10.3, and our standard deviation is 3.21. So we can see that there is significant variation in this over time, over the sample. This tells us that our data, rather than being very concentrated, is very spread out. Okay. And I hope that helps.